You must pretend to be the world's weirdest adopted 13-year-old on a mission to find his mother's murder, as you trick this weirdo family into letting you stay with them, not knowing who can be trusted because nothing is as it seems. Including you, because there's actually two of you pretending to be one single person, which will result in just about the weirdest, most uncomfortable stuff you've ever seen. Watch to the end and I'll show you how to beat the creepy town in Migi and Dali. This old couple is so bored, so they decide to adopt some snotty-nosed kids. The wife loses her hat on the way out, but this boy catches it. She tells him she'll be back tomorrow to get it as they head home, but it starts raining, and of course they see the boy from earlier saving doggos from the rain, and well, that seals the deal. They adopt Rain Man Jr. here, whose name is Hitori, and bring him back to their home. Unpacking his bags, leather-skinned granddad over here spots a big box he doesn't remember bringing in, but Hitori offers to take care of it himself. The parents leave as Hitori opens up the mystery box, revealing a second Hitori, and turns out they're really twins named Migi and Dali. How will we know who's who throughout? Who knows? Apparently by haircut, but that's not important. Anyways, they're on a mission to find their mother's murderer, with only 2 clues to go off of, but they know the culprit is somewhere in this town. The twins agree to take turns being Hitori and keep all of this a secret, as one of them heads to dinner and the other one watches from the dark. The parents offer to buy new clothes for Hitori, but says he wants 2 pairs of the same clothes he's wearing now, and they make a Steve Jobs joke in there too. His twin sneaks under him, and they both do the weirdest switcheroo I've ever seen, all because of jambalaya, and they trick the parents into loving them even more, like by giving their old man a massage, secretly tag teaming / octopussing the shit out of him. They also join the mom in her pie baking, secretly forehanding her cherries really good, but Dali spots Pops getting jealous and decides to throw him a bone, like pretending to need his help reaching up this tree outside. Pops gets real happy until he pops his back out, and then the twins complain how weak Pops is and declare they won't get anywhere unless he gives him a shoulder ride for some reason. They try again, but this time one pulls the other up on a rope right under Pops' nose, making him think he's the man, and he starts crying. That night, they map out the house and talk about how the parents are falling into their trap. Having a bath, we find out the twins are actually illiterate and they suck at reading and don't know anything, scrubbing each other's back with a stiff brush that's stiff because it's actually for the floor. They have an in-depth conversation of how many layers of skin a human has. The mom comes to leave Hitori's pajamas, so one of the twins hides in the tub, and Dali afterward forces Migi to wear the pajamas, laughing his butt off. We figure out their next plan will be to investigate the village. The parents suspiciously step out of the house but don't reveal why. The twins use this moment to investigate their room, finding the most lightweight string kite I've ever seen in my life, and they make the most of it. Checking out the old man's room, they find a hidden photo inside of this frame of the old man when he was younger and this way too hot chick, so can't be their old lady, and suspect he has a mistress. Next up, the closet. They spot human hair wigs, wondering what kind of sick people they're living with. Just as they hear the old couple arrive home, the twins quickly follow them to the outside shed, and over here they're planning something diabolical. They're planning to throw a surprise party for Hitori. They spy through the door, seeing this machine designed to pull off human hair. The next day, old man tells Hitori the party is about to begin, as everyone meets the guests, like the Ichi-jo family, and this woman, and her kid Maruta, and this kid Akiyama. Dali hides in the light fixture above, getting ready to stop the parents from taking their hair. He drops hot sauce into the mom's drink, making her tongue burn, as Hitori hands her water, which is secretly gin, and she somehow can't tell the difference, which is both surprising and admirable. But turns out mom is a lightweight and gets drunk as balls. They then pour oil into the dad's hair, getting ready to burn them before the show begins. But the parents decide to reveal the surprise early, sitting Hitori down blindfolded as he nervously waits. Dali, still hiding, spots the dad holding the gift and realizes what's going on and tries to signal Migi that it's mission abort. Migi, still blindfolded, wonders why nothing has happened. As the adults tell him to take off his blindfold, he thinks this is the end and is shocked to see the human hair pulling machine is actually just a bike. He's too surprised to say anything, so Dali burns his butt to make him yell out with enthusiasm. Later, the twins discuss how they were wrong. The young woman in the picture is definitely the old woman now. She's just really old now, and realize they still don't know anything, but they need to pick up the pace. Remembering the patterned wallpaper they saw when they were kids, they need to check every room in this village and decide to try and make friends with all the kids in the village, even though they act like aliens. They sign up to a kids camping group. One twin goes as Hitori while the other hides in the bushes, but the kids can tell Hitori is desperate to make friends, so they challenge him to walk on this rope line. If he can make it to the end, they'll be his friends. He tries many times, but he sucks, until the other twin gets tired of watching him suck and helps him out. Okay, 25 houses and 1 wallpaper, great. I would easily find our target by playing 4D chess with our classmates, so we need to get access to everybody's houses to find the unique wallpaper. Trying to sneak into all the houses is way too risky, and if we're caught, we're screwed. This is why making friends is way easier to do, but making friends with everybody, that's gonna take too long. This is why I would focus on only making friends with the key persons of influence within the town. Humans are naturally social creatures. creatures that form hierarchies. Key persons of influence are figures within the groups that are often seen as influential figures. These people are unique because they often set social norms, and others naturally follow suit. They also act as a model and leader to others and occupy central positions within social networks, and often make the main decisions of the group. This is why we could get in with these groups will more easily be able to get in with the others. The signs to spot these types of people are the ones that are highly charismatic, traits that make them likable, trustworthy, and often lead the group in conversation, as well as sift between groups more easily and noticeable than others. I will first join any activity and look out for these types of people, using this other twin of ours to keep eyes on the other groups, possibly taking notes. Once the leaders are spotted, I would lead with value, see if I can help them first or ask about their lives, using, just casual curiosity to speak to them, as people naturally like talking about themselves. Ignoring the other losers would be way more time efficient because nobody cares about their opinion anyways. Once we find the leaders, I'm going to invite them over to my house, and assuming everything goes well, they'll invite me to their house most likely, and through that we'll be able to use the leaders to let the other kids invite us to their homes. To add to our sneakiness, since we are looking for a type of wallpaper, I would pretend to have an interest in interior design and bring this up early in our conversations with the leaders. This would allow us more easily and freely bring up commentary on wallpaper of the different houses we see, and even ask the kids about their wallpapers without looking weird. They eventually succeed, but the kids tell them they were joking and walk away. Haha, so funny. However, Akiyama from earlier gets inspired by Hitori's determination and offers to be his friend, inviting him to his house. Hitori arrives later with twin number 2 slithering in, finding out Akiyama's sister is the only other person in the house, cause that's normal. Dali keeps Akiyama busy while Migi looks around, sneaking into the sister's room like a creep, but can't find any water flea paper, tries to leave but gets pulled in by the sister, trying not to enjoy, but it's too late. Meanwhile, Dali as Hitori keeps Akiyama busy, finding out he's got it's weird. Moving on. The twins soon return home disappointed they didn't find anything, except for Migi, who found 2 things like a stud. The next day, a kid who they also met earlier, Maruta, invites Hitori to his house. This time Dali does the snooping but finds nothing, while Migi keeps Maruta busy, but they find out he's a little prick that tries to bully him, so Dali takes over as Hitori and momentarily whoops his butt. The next day, the family housekeeper shows up, Michan, but she asks Hitori too many questions and freaks him out. Finding out she cleans the other homes in the village, he tries asking about the other houses, but Michan says she can't reveal that information, making him annoyed, and storms off to his room. Dali notices Migi making fun of Michan, impersonating her, and this gives him an idea. Later they spot the mom hanging clothes with Michan, so the twins separate the two. Migi takes the mom's place in full disguise and continues talking to Michan, pretending to be the mom. Migi asks Michan about the wallpaper designs, and asks her if anyone in the village has this same wallpaper pattern, making Michan remember that the Ichi-jos have one just like it, giving Migi and Dali their next target. They will now try to make friends with that family. The next day, the twins get ready for school like creeps, but notice Hitori has been placed in the lowest class, while Eiji from Ichi-jo's family has been placed in the smartest class. They secretly meet up later in the bathroom, and Dali tells Migi they gotta get better grades, shocking Migi since they can't even do normal subtraction. Suddenly, Eiji and his friends enter the bathroom. Hitori comes out and tries to make friends with Eiji in a last-minute attempt, but he spots Hitori's low-class rank and pretends he doesn't know him. That night, Dali tells Migi his grades suck and midterms are coming up soon. He's found a spot to study in the library, but all Migi can think about is the hottest woman he's ever seen at the library. Dali tells him to focus on studying, but then has the most wicked, messed up idea you'll ever see on this channel. He changes tactics and tells Migi to try and get this woman's attention. The next day, Migi, as Hitori, tries to talk to the woman and finds out her name is Sally, but she tells him she's not interested in dummies and to come to know her when he's a good boy, making him sad, and he whines to Dali about it later. But he doesn't know is that Sally is actually Dali. Turns out Dali found the perfect studying spot while Migi was in PE, but he was asked to leave when his scheduled class had PE, so he put on a disguise instead, and this is when Migi noticed him. And now Dali realizes he can use the power of women to make Migi shape up and study. Migi starts studying together with Sally after school, and he slowly gets better and better and starts to catch feelings. 1 week before the midterms, Migi confesses his love to Sally and asks if she feels the same way, and this is like, ooh, this is weird. Dali gets nervous because either answer will distract Migi before the midterms. He comes up with an idea and tells Migi she might like him if he can get a high score in the midterms, and now Migi's off like a man on a mission to get some. He then gets 100 points on the midterm, successfully passing the exams. Seeing this, Sally agrees to go on a date with him, so Dali as Sally goes on a date with Hitori as Migi, both brothers. Migi gifts Dali a twin dolphin necklace. He then decides to stop fooling Migi and tells him she's moving away, making Migi accidentally break the dolphin necklace, but he asks Sally to keep one dolphin so their hearts will always be together. He then runs back home and cries into Dali's arms about this girl and blah blah blah, and Dali keeps his mouth shut. What the frick just happened? Later they get invited to the Ichi-jo Ichi-jo family house. They love high achievers and congratulate Hitori on his exam results. Meanwhile, Dali sneaks around the house looking for the water flea wallpaper. However, the mother Reiko here then reveals that she knows Hitori has committed a crime and they set him up. Eiji takes out his old school uniform when he was a kid, which is missing a button, the same one Hitori has been wearing. Hitori tries to reach for his neck, but Eiji tells him to keep his hands up and demands he takes off his shirt so they can check. Not realizing Dali secretly slithering under the table and sneakily removes the button before it's too late. Eiji still thinks Hitori is sus and feels his booty cheeks. That's okay, but he calls in his dog to look for it and heads straight up under the table. About to get discovered, Migi covers for his brother and confesses to stealing the button. Dali secretly hands Migi the button to give back to Eiji, telling everyone it was so pretty that he just couldn't resist. Hitori's parents are shocked and Reiko threatens to call the orphanage and take Hitori away unless he comes to live with her, where she will train him how to be a good boy, shocking everybody here. Later, Eiji asks imprisoned Hitori why he has the button he's been looking for 80 years. Hitori says he just found it on the floor, but Eiji knows that's bullshit. Dali waits in hiding and tries to reach Migi, bumping into the house dog, but turns out he's super cutie pie. Migi hears Dali on the other side, but doesn't reveal that Reiko has dressed him up as a giant baby. He also reminds him that when they were kids, they used to listen to the sound of music with their mom through a wall, and that sound came from a piano. Dali realized based on the distance from the piano that Migi is in the very room they grew up in. Migi quickly investigates the wall and sure enough, sees their baby drawings where their mom faded out, making Migi so sad he starts crying. Dali quickly hides as Reiko comes in to check on him and feed him milk that can grow up like Eiji, apparently. Dali spends the next few days spying on the family but notices they don't speak to each other or even bring up Migi. Dali starts to wonder if their mom's killer is really in this house. He checks the father's study room but gets caught by none other than Michan, who also works for this family, and thinking Dali's still Hitori, she says she heard about him staying here and his adopted parents miss him. Hitori doesn't give an F and goes back to snooping. Michan loves being nosy, so she joins in, and they spot this photo of Reiko and her husband, but Hitori spots his mom in the reflection. He asks Michan if she recognizes the woman in the reflection, but judging by her clothes, she thinks this woman is a housekeeper, but doesn't think the Ichi-jos would ever hire any housekeeper below 50 years old, which makes this really weird. They also find this secret lever and sending a ladder down. As they go and explore the attic and discover a mini model of their village, where all the residents are dolls, and data on all of them. Turns out this family's keeping tabs on the entire village. Then somebody is heard, headed their way. Michan tells Hitori to hide in this box while she covers for him. Later, Dali escapes and wonders what happened to Michan. He starts getting hungry and realizes he has been eating or resting, so the house dogs helped him out. He then updates Migi on his report, saying they should leave, but Migi says he thinks he can earn Reiko's trust, and he'll handle the next step. Still not telling him he's dressed up like a baby, determined to win Reiko over. Migi acts like the best baby this world has ever seen to make her happy, but catches Dali watching him through the door, finally figuring out what he's doing and laughs his butt off. But Migi concentrates, trying to make his first walks, but falls over and hits his head, making Reiko like him even more. Later, Reiko lets him eat at the family dinner table. There, Migi tries to find more information about the family, while Dali under the table tries to catch them lying, but Reiko is onto them. Okay bros, we can't let them know we're onto them. This is why I would use special dialogue techniques designed to get information out of them without anyone noticing. By combining social dynamics and psychology, you can use these techniques on anybody. Aren't I a helpful person? Check out this 5-step framework. 1. Start up an open conversation with general topics, and then 2. Narrowly focus gradually while lowering the other person's defensive barriers, and then 3. Build a rapport through body language. You gotta look comfortable. And 5. Lead by open-ended conversations. If the goal is to find more information, I would have come up with a structure plan to achieve certain objectives, like by targeting to get information about the family's background, their general emotional stability, and their overall goals in life. By finding out these 3 points, it would provide us with a good comprehensive overview of who we're up against, the type of people they are, and how crazy or not they are in the head. Using the 5-step framework could have focused on starting on open topics to set comfortable tones, then gradually narrow it down to figure out those 3 things. But to counter any suspicion, I would open up first. This would prevent further suspicion. I also would have tried to connect emotionally by mirroring the movements of them subtly to build even more rapport. Doing these things will get someone to like you way faster, and this also increases the chances they speak more freely within the narrowing topics as we frame the conversation, because people talking about themselves is the easiest way to get people talking. Doing this will directly reflect how sinister, cold, and determined they are to not let anyone in their way. So if you can figure out what their goals are for the future, how they think, where they came from, we'll know what we're up against, and that is the most important thing we can do right now. Later, Reiko tells Hitori that his education baby program has finished, and he can head home tomorrow. Migi and Dali are running out of time, and they need need to find evidence. But that's when Dali has an idea. They dress him up as their mother and try to scare the dad, Reiko's husband. He thinks she's a ghost, and they see how he reacts. But instead he hugs her and calls her Mitri, freaking the twins out and run away to hide. Realizing the dad is innocent and their mother's name, Mitri, they start to wonder if their mom was this family's mistress. And they try the ghost tactics on Reiko, but she ends up acting like a full-on psycho and charges after them with a weapon, sending them running to hide. Her husband shows up and tells her Mitri isn't here, but Reiko thinks he's hiding. The twins hiding nearby try to escape, but nearly die by Reiko's scissors, sending them running to the kitchen. They run into Eiji, who sees Mitri's face and freaks the hell out, making the twins now think he's the killer. The next day, Hitori gets sent home as the twins get their old life back. Dali has not been eating well in the other house, so Migi swaps out with him so the family can take care of him for a bit. The next day, Migi heads to school as Hitori, while Dali works on finding more information on Eiji and dresses up again as Sally and tries to seduce him. She catches Eiji in the bathroom, freaking out about what he saw last night, and threatens to ruin his perfect image, making him do whatever he wants. She agrees to keep her mouth shut if he can embarrass himself, so he shows her all his family photos taken during Christmas 8 years ago. But Sally spots him wearing the same shirt with the same missing button. Keeping it cool, she asks him why this button is missing here, but he can't remember, while she doesn't reveal anything about who she is. Later, Eiji asks around about Sally, but no one seems to know who she is. Meanwhile, Migi is annoyed at Dali for going after Eiji without him, but spots this dolphin necklace on the floor, realizing it's Sally's, and this means she's returned. Updating Dali on the good news, yay! And the brother's like, oh shit! He tells Migi this isn't hers, but Migi doesn't believe him, and the next day puts up posters of her around the school. But his drawing is so bad that no one reports anything. However, Akiyama ends up being able to recreate Migi's drawing perfectly, and they use this as the new poster. And this one girl comes across it and says that Eiji was looking for the same girl earlier, making Migi think she's two-timing him. He follows Eiji, who's actually been called by Dali dressed as Sally to find more questions about that Christmas photo. And that's when Migi, as Hitori, catches them. He confronts Sally and tries to pull her away, but Eiji grabs her too, saying he's fallen in love. Dali inside is like going, oh shit! He's freaking out, but Migi thinks that she likes Eiji more, breaking Migi's heart. However, Dali plans to put Eiji under regression hypnosis that he's also been practicing on Migi, hoping to unlock his deeper memories about that night. Heading to Eiji's house, Sally needs Eiji to lie down and tries to get Eiji to join and take a nap, but he says he will watch over her instead. And Sally says she can't fall asleep without someone by her side, but Eiji's too dense, so he puts his creepy dolls next to her. Ugh, spooky. Trying again, she reveals her bongjales, and Eiji quickly covers her. They haven't signed a contract to be lovers yet. Sally tells him no worries, and they actually should sign it right now, thinking Eiji wants both of their signatures or something, but he actually wants her mouth. Freaking Dali as Sally out, he quickly thinks of his brother and mans up, and straight tongues punches that mouth hole. Sealing the deal, they lie down together, and Sally finally hypnotizes him and about to make him reveal his childhood memories right then, thinking Eiji killed their mom between Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. But Eiji actually just falls asleep, and suddenly Migi knocks on the window, but Sally tells him he must leave, and Migi then hands her the dolphin necklace. Just as a sleepwalking Eiji comes to the window and pushes Migi out, Sally catches him and accidentally calls him an idiot in his real Dali voice. Migi notices this and bites his hand, leaving a mark before he runs away. Eiji finally wakes up as his buried memories start coming back. On Christmas Eve that night, he saw someone at his window, but he got scared and pushed her off. She grabbed her button as she fell to her death, and that person was Mitri. Eiji went to call his mother, but by the time they came back, her body was gone, so he thought he saw a ghost. Back in the present, Sally runs home to tell Migi he's figured out the mystery, but Migi has run off to Akiyama's house as Hitori, all sad. He doesn't tell him what happened, but stops him from calling his parents. Dali at home fills in as Hitori waits for Migi to return. Growing impatient, he figures out where he is and shows up to Akiyama's house. Knocking on the door, he asks to be let back in. Akiyama is confused to see Hitori back since he just spoke to him upstairs, but Hitori tells him he jumped down the window for fun. Coming back in, Migi upstairs is now forced to hide to maintain their secret, while Dali as Hitori knows his brother's hiding in the closet, and he asks Akiyama for some tea, getting a moment in private. He then asks Migi to come home so they can have revenge against Eiji. Akiyama then comes back early to ruin the moment. Dali's Hitori tries one more time to talk to Migi by talking through Akiyama, talking about some vague things that only Migi picks up on, and he tries to convince him. But Migi pulls in Dali when Akiyama isn't looking and tells him he's done taking orders and leaves with Akiyama. Dali heads back defeated, but here's there will be a Halloween costume this Sunday for the town, and the contest winner of last year will be returning, Eiji. Dali thinks he can murder Eiji this Sunday, but fools himself into planning it all by himself. He struggles being alone, can't eat double food portions himself, and sucks at making apple pie. He can't give an old man a massage for crap. The dad realizes Hitori is struggling and takes him for a bath, squirting him with his yellow toy, but Pop squirts from one hole instead of two, and tells Hitori the pressure this way will be stronger, making Dali realize he just needs to get rid of Migi from his thoughts and he'll become strong. The day of the event arrives, and Dali prepares to perform on stage in his new costume. He's a vampire mosquito, a vamp-squito. He goes on the stage to show off his costume, squirting loads of his ketchup blood on everybody, but gets booed off on the stage. After, he sneakily modifies the chair that the winner of the competition will sit on. Last year's winner, Eiji, steps on stage. The crowd predicted winner, but he's not wearing a costume. Dali thinks he must still be in shock, and he won't let Eiji ruin his evil plans. He quickly starts spreading rumors in the crowd that Eiji looks like shit on purpose, because he's dressed as a poor person, convincing the crowd that the golden boy is so smart and creative, they start cheering for him, and he easily wins the competition, about to sit on the winner's throne with a lethal pumpkin waiting to drop just above him. Eiji shockingly announces that he doesn't deserve to be king and won't sit on the throne. The announcer says that means second place winner will take the throne, this bird costume, but turns out the person inside is Migi. Mother and father think Hitori switched costumes and cheer him on like dum-dums. Dali sees his brother about to sit on the execution chair and he tries to stop him in time, but last minute Eiji saves Migi instead. Later, Migi this time dresses up as Sally and shows up to Eiji's house, who's not dead, just injured, and asks him why he saved Hitori. Eiji says he wanted to atone for his crime because he's a sinner and his whole family is twisted. He shows Sally the diagram of the village and says his mom is trying to keep his secret of what he did by watching over the entire village, revealing that on Christmas years ago, his mother convinced him no woman existed, but she actually did. The family also keeps dolls of the village's former residents, and he found the same woman he pushed in his sister's old dollhouse, and thinks that woman, who is actually Dali and Migi's mother, is back to take revenge, and thinks his mother suspects someone in this village is trying to go against them, revealing her number one suspect is Hitori's family, and tells Sally he must warn Hitori that he's in danger, because Eiji knows Sally loves Hitori more than him, but it's cool. Suddenly, Eiji's mother, Reiko, shows up with a lethal French weapon, this frozen baguette, and tries to stop Sally, and Eiji tries to hold her off, but she almost catches Sally's wig, forcing Dali to expose his identity in order to escape. Reiko now knows it's Hitori, and he sneaks into Eiji's little sister's room, Karen, who actually ends up covering for him and tells her mother that no one is in here. After she tells Hitori it's cool because that woman isn't actually her mother, and this family's fake as balls, confusing everybody here. Reiko runs to Hitori's house and asks the parents about him, but they say Hitori has been in his room his whole time. She has tea with him, but spikes their drink to make him pass out. Back with Migi, Karen tells him that he should escape the village and helps him escape the house. Rushing back, he sees his parents napping, which is weird, but spots Dali tied up as Reiko catches him, exposing their secret. She asks where their mother is, but Migi says she was killed years ago because of Eiji. Shocking Reiko, she starts laughing, telling the boys they can finally see their mom soon. However, she says she would just kill one of them, and since no one knows about their secret, no one will know what happened, and asks the twins to pick which one should die. Dali comes forward, and Reiko happily listens, and starts choking the crap out of it, but that's when housekeeper Michan shows up to save him. Turns out Karen unburied her after Reiko knocked her out earlier. Michan fights Reiko off, and even the dog gets in on the action, letting Michan free the kids and tells them to leave town and never come back. As she gets spotted by Reiko, the boys pedal the metal out of town and stop that night in this shrine to spend the night. But soon Migi misses the friends and family they made and convinces protective Dali to go back and save everyone. Pedaling back to town, they realize Hitori is now a wanted criminal thanks to Reiko, and Reiko's house is well guarded. They decide to head to Migi's friend, Akiyama. Dali hides as Migi pretends to be Hitori and tells him about Reiko and everything. Akiyama says he has a powerful weapon they can use to stop her and soon brings in an annoying Maruta. Yeah, he agrees to help. Maruta says he has some powerful tech that they can use to take Reiko down. They also consider recruiting Karen to be their spy. They try contacting her through Maruta's Morse code, and she says they can enter through the window, but there are police all over. They head to Maruta's treehouse headquarters to discuss. Akiyama says they could use another member, instantly sending in the second Hitori at first, which confuses the gang, and they all freak out because like, whoa, you guys are twins, and they have to calm everybody down. They tell them the truth again, and everybody agrees to team up. Akiyama will dress up in his bird costume to distract the police, while the others sneak in through the window. Heading back, Maruta takes out a slingshot and fires a rope into the window, creating a climbing line for them as the three get in, but then he realizes Reiko put barbed wires below, freaking him out as he stops moving. He loses his grip and the branch starts to break. Okay, while this looks difficult, the problem was super avoidable. Look, the kids played it dumb. For starters, they put 3 times the weight on a single branch. That's like, you could have avoided that. They had a solid 5 minutes to take their time climbing this rope one by one. There was no reason to rush and go all 3 at the same time. Even if the rope could hang, not spreading people out on the rope risked it in sinking further down due to their weight. Overall, this was a super dumb thing. Look, Maruta is younger than them, and there was a higher chance of him freaking out on the branch. And because he's younger, it's more likely he could be more emotionally unstable, which means this kid could be a ticking time bomb of an emotional wreck waiting to happen. Putting him up in front was dumb. Mistake number 2. He's also super chunky and fat, and less agile, just from a sheer body weight mobility perspective. If I was them, I would put Maruta at the back, with the twins leading the way. Sure, they might behave a little different. Would it be safe to say that having the twins at the front would have meant they both would have known how they would have reacted, and would have been better able to handle any psychological problem? The twins quickly start headbutting Maruta to reach the other side, but Dali accidentally falls over. Migi catches him, and everyone gets inside. They tell Karen they will use her as a hostage to force Reiko to confess her crimes, but she thinks they should use Eiji. The gang agrees as Karen tells them Eiji is being re-educated and is located in the storage room. She then acts as a decoy and calls out to her dad in pain, allowing the gang to sneak upstairs and reach Eiji with no one watching. They silence him with a toy since he's a baby now and plan to move him to the second floor and call Reiko out when she passes by them on the ground floor, since this way she won't be able to easily reach them. The twins briefly chat about Eiji and wonder if he should still die or not. They pass by Maruta, who starts recording everything for proof but runs into the family dog that starts barking and soon wakes up Reiko. Shit. Everybody starts hearing her charging right past them, heading straight for Eiji's baby room and freaks out in horror as she looks for him, running back into the center of the house where she finds this camera recording of the twins playing with Eiji, and it gets pulled up with this rope by Maruta. He announces she's on camera. The twins safe on the second floor now threaten Eiji unless Reiko confesses her crimes. But they don't realize she's got bigger plans. This might seem smart, but it's kinda dumb. The mother's reaction to seeing her kid hostage, we already know it's gonna be unpredictable. She's got superior strength and speed based on what we've seen. I mean, she could have reached us pretty quickly from the stairs still, and here's the brutal truth, we're in her home, an environment she knows. And she has a literal secret room where she does weird baby crap. Doing anything in her house means she has a clear advantage over us. She could have strategized a much easier attack from another angle on us, and the limited escape routes on the second floor means she'll probably catch us eventually. If I was them, I would have at least chosen to meet up in an environment where we controlled or no one controlled, and would have first gotten her attention through a small surveillance camera linked to us, showing us we were holding Eiji hostage in another nearby hidden location. That way she would have been forced to listen to us because she literally would not know where we are. As a three-man team, we also could have had Maruta stationed outside Reiko's house with a psychic communication device linked to us, so he could have kept us posted of Reiko's movements so we know where she was at all times. The point is, no dang staircase is gonna stop a killer in their own house in the middle of the night where she already had built a freaking secret room. Just saying, thinking she's not scary is a bad plan. Reiko spills the beans about everything, talking about her in third person like a weirdo. She reveals she always wanted a perfect family but couldn't have kids until she met a housekeeper named Mitri. The two became close, and then she asked her to sneakily get with her husband in the dark and give her some kids. So she listened, but turns out the husband knew as Mitri the whole time and confessed his love by saying he loved her for her imperfections, while Reiko was too obsessed with chasing perfection. But Reiko was secretly watching and freaked out. But Mitri ended up getting pregnant with 3 kids. One of them took after Reiko's husband, and so Reiko ended up stealing that kid and locked Mitri and the twins in her basement. Years later, Mitri tried to escape with the twins and came back to rescue Eiji, but Eiji freaked out and accidentally killed her. Ooh, shit. Reiko then stops talking and starts climbing the walls like a freak and quickly overwhelms everyone. Literally. She reaches out for Eiji, but this position makes him have a flashback, and he pushes her off the second floor instead. Eiji finally breaks his baby mind control and realizes the twins are his brothers. They're triplets, and remembers he killed his own mom, which causes him to lose his mind, and then he goes to take care of Reiko. However, suddenly Pops comes back from Karen's room and is confused to see 2 Hitoris. He thinks they're trespassing, and then they hear Reiko screaming downstairs. They all run to her and sees her now covered in blood, but that's when she gets up and runs out of the room, locking them inside, and she says she will escape with Eiji and start over and kill everyone here to cover her tracks. Everyone tries to figure out how to escape, and turns out Reiko's husband is the worst husband in the world and has no idea what's going on, including Eiji wearing diapers. Suddenly, Akiyama busts in with his Iron Man suit, and they rush to jump out of the window. Maruta is scared, but Karen says she will reward him if he jumps, making him the bravest man in the world. Everyone escapes, but Akiyama says he saw Eiji and Reiko unresponsive inside. Dali finally realizes that Eiji is like him if he grew up without a brother, and rushes him to go save him. Finding Eiji inside, he's knocked out, his psycho stepmom, and tells Dali they don't deserve to live, but Dali convinces him to have courage to keep on living, and that works. So they sneak him back out, and after Eiji finally confronts his dad and tells him everything, that he killed Reiko, started the fire, and killed Michan, and refuses to elaborate to the police. But the police soon find Maruta's camera and Reiko confessing the crime inside, so he gets a light juvenile sentence instead. The town soon goes back to normal and happy, but Dali refuses to reveal himself and tells Migi he wants him to live a full life without getting in his way. However, some Christmas, their adopted parents leave them 2 gifts in their room and revealed they figured out there were 2 of them based on their wild eating habits. They announce they will accept both of them as their kids, and Dali starts crying. Aw, that's sweet. A few years later, everyone is finally grown up as the twins have come to terms with living their own lives. Dali heads off to college as Migi stays behind to pursue his art career, realizing no matter how far apart they are, their hearts will always be near.
But what did you think about the video? What would you do different? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. And as always, don't forget to check out our How to Be playlist.